Number one, I travel. So I'm not always there. And number two, she don't let me act like this at home. So when I get out, it's like, free at last, free at last. Free at last. Then y'all gotta deal with it. Okay, all right. I'm there. Any other reason why you're sitting in the car? Get the remote. She took a clean piece of electrical tape and put it across the eye on the TV. He changed batteries 4 times before she had it. All these batteries are bad. All these batteries.
Buy a bigger TV.
What's that?
Buy a bigger TV.
Buy it now. You get them out so you can buy a bigger TV. Good. So you can retire. Okay. All right. Good. Those are some good reasons. Now, here's what I want to do. I want to take this and give me that sheet. Come on, Pete. Fingers work. Okay. Now, I want to get rid of that. We're going to cover what is called the 4 phases of attitude. And everybody goes through these 4 phases. I don't care who you are. I don't care how young or old you are. I don't care whether you're male or female. I don't care whether you're black, white, red, yellow, green, or orange. I don't care whether you're Catholic, Methodist, Presbyterian, Episcopalian, Jewish, Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist. You know, God, you're Buddha, man. Everybody goes through it, okay? But I need to ask a few quick questions before I start. You respond to this by simply raising your hand, okay? Has anyone here got a new job within the last year or so? Raise up your hand, please. Okay, good. Anyone here got a promotion within the last year or so? Raise up your hand, please. Okay, now that's a new job, man. Unless you didn't know. Oh yeah, that's right. Promotion. Okay. All right. Anyone here got married within the last year or so? Raise your hand. Okay, anyone in here, either you or your spouse had a child within the last year or so? Raise your hand. Okay, anyone here in the last year or so had one of you, watch this is a softball. Anyone here had one of you just entered the senior in high school? Thank you very much. Okay, right? And look at that. Are you there? Anyone here in the last year or so got a divorce? Raise your hand, please. Okay, you know, it amazes me. Whenever I ask that question, no matter what audience, whenever I get to that question, people snap their head. Which one? Which one? We might have a lie in this group, okay? One time I was talking to a group of people and I asked about, I was going through that series. I said, anybody here got a new job? This guy raised his hand. So anybody here got married? Same guy raised his hand. And he said, anybody here, I think your spouse had a child? Same guy raised his hand. He said, anybody last year or so got a divorce? Same guy raised his hand. He had a busy year, got up, got excited, moved on. Anyway, would you understand where all that comes from? Okay. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, whenever we start a new job, whenever we start a new relationship, whenever we start a new project, what is our typical attitude? Happy. Yes, we are positive. We are excited. We are pumped. Woo! All right, I got me a new job. Whatever it takes, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna study the manual. I'm gonna read the book. Ain't no I in the word team. Whatever it takes, I'm gonna do it. I'm excited. We're gonna get it. We're there. We're going. We're gonna do it. We are moving. Woo! You need to know research tells us the excitement phase will last 4 to 6 weeks. Then we move into phase 2, and phase 2 is called frustration. We start to get frustrated, but the frustration phase has several subcategories to it. First subcategory of frustration is called reality. Reality sets in and we go, what? You must be out of your mind. Right after reality comes fear. We start to become afraid and walk over all things and we're all excited because we didn't know the realities were. Right after fear comes anger and denial. They lied to me. It's not the way they said it was going to be. They said everybody here was like a big family. They never told me it was dysfunctional. They never told me it was thick puppies around here. Now right after denial comes goof off. We start to goof off, but we justify goofing off because whoever they is, lied to me. If they hadn't lied to me, I wouldn't have made all them promises. I wouldn't have been all excited. I wouldn't be frustrated right now. It ain't my fault, it's their fault. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you need to know the frustration phase. Research tells us will last anywhere from 5 minutes is called Start Looking. Start looking for a new job. Start looking for a new spot. Start looking for a new kid. The hospital gave you the wrong one. Whatever, you got to start looking for something better than what it is, because they don't know what it is right now. Now, if the economy is decent, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, listen to me carefully. I travel all over these United States. And I am sick and tired of people telling us how bad the economy is. The economy in America is strong. And I will prove it to you. Number one, and I travel all over. I don't care where you live. Next time you go to Walmart, try to find a parking space close to the entrance. Every Walmart parking lot in America got cars all over the place. And it ain't the employees, because when you go inside, you can't find them. Walmart, the only company in the world, got 87 checkouts and 2 people managing. And one of those 2 is 10 items or less. Hello, right? Okay. Now, number two. Did you know that every single weekend in America, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, every 52 weeks a year, over $100 million is spent for us to go to the show. That's just to get in. That ain't the candy, popcorn, and cold drinks inside. Over $100 million every single weekend. Number 3, and you might want to debate when I tell you this, but I'm going to clarify. Two companies, 6 years in a row had record profits. Not record sales, not record income, record profits. And neither one of these companies sold anything that we have to have for survival. Anybody want to venture guess who they were? Microsoft and Apple? Nope. Starbucks? Ooh, you getting close. Watch, I'll give it to you. Circuit City and Best Buy. You might say, wait a minute, Circuit City filed for bankruptcy. Read the fine print. The year that Circuit City filed for bankruptcy, their profits were only 3% of the profits from the year before. They made a profit, but it wasn't bigger than the year before. That's like mamas and daddies, young people. You're working with somebody. One year you get a 1% raise. Next year you get a 2% raise. Next year you get a 4% raise. Year after that you get a 5% raise. Year after that you get a 7% raise. Year after that you get an 8% raise. Year after that you get a 4% raise and you quit. Kind of dumb, ain't it? And I'm not trying to offend anybody, ladies and gentlemen, but as I look across this auditorium, I'm sorry, but there's not a whole lot of people in this room who've been missing meals. We all eat. Some others more than others. You know what I mean? And when I'm saying to you, we got my, and here's another. This will blow your mind. And some of y'all are involved in this. I'm not judging it. Not judging it. Simply state the fact. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that this September, actually it's in August, this August, for the 9th year in a row, fantasy football went over a $1 billion a year industry. People in America, for 9 years in a row, have spent over $1 billion to play like we own a professional football team. We did that in New Orleans for 42 years. Amen. A professional football team, and they give us a bad time because we pay people to hit somebody. No, wait. I'm sorry. What?
So bad.
Yeah. It's like, but the NFL is talking about how scared they are for the head injury. You know, they don't want that head-to-head contact. You ever see 2 players after somebody scores, they run up, BAM! Throw the flag. Excessive celebration, concussion development. Okay, right. Anyway. But we do that. So we start looking at it. If the economy is decent, we already know it is, okay? About 7 out of 10 times when you start looking for a new job, what do you think is going to happen? We find one. Then what phase do we move to? This is where I want to be, huh? This is what I want to do. Whatever it takes time to do it, I'm going to go with I'm studying the manual, I'm reading the book, ain't the line, word team. Whatever it takes time to do it, I'm excited. We're going to get it, we're there, we're going. We are doing it. How long does that last? Then we move right back into the We do that. We get excited, first start looking, excited, first start looking, excited, first start looking. And then you start looking for a new job. And you can't find one. So you go back to the old job. Excited? No. Frustrated. And if I'm going to be frustrated, everybody's going to be frustrated. Somebody come in here and say good morning, they better have documentation. Otherwise, we're going to nail them to the wall. Right? So we do that. We get excited. First start looking, first start looking, first start looking, excited, first start looking. Some of y'all say, Steve, you told me for the top, since up top 4 phases that I do, you can run through 3 of them. Did you forget what the 4th one was? No, I didn't. Ladies and gentlemen, in anything we do in life, whenever we find ourselves slipping outside of the excitement phase, we need to force ourselves into phase 4. And phase 4 is called recommitment. We must recommit ourselves to what? We call that Cajun popcorn. We need to recommit ourselves to all the reasons why we're excited about doing what we're doing in the first place. See, those reasons haven't changed, have they? We're making the same money. Exactly the same money. Ain't had a raise in a while. Right? You can still get your education. You still can get the remote back, okay? Right? You can still have that. Okay, right? Party, education, right? The band, you can still get away from home. You can get away from home. Okay? All of those reasons are still there. But you notice, ladies and gentlemen, it says we got to be recommitted. I'm calling all over the place here. Okay? One of the things that I do as I travel around the United States, I see a whole lot of people who are involved in what they do, but they're not committed to what they do. And you know what the difference between involvement and commitment is? Be compared to breakfast, the ham and eggs. The chicken is involved, but the pig is committed. Think about it. That chicken goes along, drops one and moves on. But how many 3-legged pigs you see running around? Now, I always got to remember when I come up here to Northwestern and speak, I know somebody else saying, Steve, the bacon comes from the fat side of the pig. Okay. Okay. But we got to be committed. And I know some of y'all look at me and y'all say, you know what, this dude needs to be committed. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about it. Suppose right after Janet introduced me, suppose I would have come out on this stage and said, good morning. I'm very excited to be here today. There's some stuff I'm going to tell y'all. I mean, I don't know if it's any good or not. I mean, I don't know if y'all can use any of it. I mean, it really don't even matter why. You know, why, I don't even know why. You be sitting here, we don't know why they want you either. See, you may think I'm crazy, but guess what? You missed it. Right? There's no telling where this food will come from now. And when I'm saying to you is we got to be committed. So, but how do you do that? Steve, are you always happy? No! No! But I truly believe, ladies and gentlemen, it is critical in order to stay happy that we must set goals for ourselves. And if I would ask you, how many people here have written down personal and or professional goals? It's scary how a few people will raise their hand. I see a few hands start to creep up, okay? So then I ask this question. What's the #1 reason why people don't set goals? Wait, Ted? Fear of failure. What happens if you set a goal, everybody knows you set it, and you don't achieve it? Loser! You get a big ass skin on your forehead, you are a loser! What's the number 2 fear why people don't set goals? Fear of what? Fear of failure? Okay, listen. If failure is number 1, it can't be number 2. That's how we do it in America. Like there's only one number 1, and then there's a number 2. It's got to be a different word. Number 2 fear. What? Who said that? You did. Fear of success. Why would anybody be afraid to set a goal and achieve it? You're right. You mean if I set a goal and I achieve it, then I got to duplicate it? And then if I duplicate it, then what do I have to do? I got to better it? You mean I got to set another one? Higher? And then if I achieve that, higher? Dang! When is enough enough? The answer to that question, ladies and gentlemen, is never. Some people say when I die, my response is, you better have one more. You see yourself like dying and all of a sudden going, ow, ow, ooh, 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 ow, ow. Dang, I forgot to say I want to go to heaven. Yeah. By the way, you know, the number 1 fear of people is fear of failure. Number 1 failure is failure to set goals. I had a lady one time tell me, she said, Steve, I ain't waiting for my ship to come in. I'm swimming out too. I said, you go, girl. But I know so many people who wait for their ship to come in and they never send one out. So they end up like that, just sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide go away. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to be able to set goals in your life. And by the way, moms and daddies, you may not like me saying this. Young people, you may be thrilled with joy with saying this. But listen to this. How many young people in this room, moms and daddies, your kid comes home, first report card, they got 2 F's, 3 D's, and a C. And besides you grounded, what do we say to them? You can do better. So the kid works harder. Next rating period, they come home, they got 2 D's, 3 C's, and a B. And what do we say to them? You can do better. Dang! So the kid works even harder. And then next time they come home, they got 4 B's and 2 A's. And what do we say to them? God dang! And ladies and gentlemen, I've done some research on this, and I am firmly convinced the reason why mamas and daddies want our kids to make A's and B's, because we would love to see a report card with A's and B's on it with our name attached to it at some time in our lives. Because it didn't happen when we went through it. Has anybody here ever had a brain fart? You know where all of a sudden your brain just goes and it's gone? My mom and daddy used to insist on us making good grades, and I'm one of 9 children, so you know we Catholic, okay? Anyway, and one day we were cleaning out the attic, and I found one of my daddy's old report cards, and he had flunked arithmetic. Moms and daddies, how many of y'all remember when we learned how to spell arithmetic? Remember that little rhyme? A rat in town's house may eat town ice cream. The first letter of each one of those words spells out the word arithmetic. A rat in town's house may eat town ice cream. A-R-I-T-H-M-E-T-I-C. Young people, y'all looking at me, y'all going, that is so stupid. Why didn't y'all just remember A-R-I-T-H-M-E-T-I-C? Don't talk to me. You couldn't handle that many letters. We have got that for you. I read it from arithmetic, and I had a brain fart. And I went downstairs and I brought that report card. And my dad sitting in his favorite easy chair in the den, reading the Times Picayune. And I said, yeah, you and Mama always insist that we make good grades. You flunked arithmetic. Why are y'all so hard on us? He never lowered the paper, y'all. From behind the Times Picayune, this is what I heard. You want to turn out like me? Now, how do you answer that question without that brain farts are followed shortly thereafter with what I call moments of illumination. And I had a moment of illumination like that, and I said, I'm going to bring this report card back up there. And we never discussed that report card again. Okay? All right. We got to set goals, and I think we need to set goals, ladies and gentlemen, in 6 different areas in our lives. And to help you remember those 6 areas, I got to do it like this. Got to make a circle, and then you divide it like this. Okay? And if you miss, oh, I got the middle. Good. Okay. And then we usually pronounce fishes. F-I-S-H-E-S. Fishes. Now I know the plural of fish is fish. But I have had some very learned people tell me, say, Steve, you know the plural of fish is fish. Unless you're discussing the species of fish. Then the plural is fishy. My response is, I don't care. I'm not discussing the species of fish. I'm discussing goal setting. I needed 6 letters. I need them 6, so we're using fish. And each one of those letters stands for something. The F in the word fishes stands for family. What kind of goals have you set for you and your family? How much time and energy do we spend with our family? Ladies and gentlemen, I know so many young people who are working very, very diligently, working very hard, doing things for their family, not with their family. Small preposition change, gigantic results change. Some of you young people, with your mom and dad, they came with you right now. You need to know something. It's like, I could have gone by myself. You need to know something. You ought to be happy and proud that your mom and dad came with you. They care about you. Some of you parents who came, your kid didn't want you to come. So for those mamas and daddies whose kids wanted you to be here today, not just to pay the bill, but they wanted you to be here today, you should be proud. And you should be happy. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to spend time with our family. And listen. So many people in the world today, we talk about, all families are dysfunctional. There ain't no such thing as a functional family in America. We are all dysfunctional. Young people, when you were born, you did not come with an owner's manual. They said, here, go home. Young people, your mama and daddy are going to screw up. They're going to do stuff that's going to tick you off. That's our job. Mamas and daddy, your children tick you off. And every time they do, you blame it on your spouse's family. Understand, mamas and daddy, that is their job. Young people and moms and dads, we know our siblings, our relatives, sometimes work, do their job better than anybody else we've ever seen. They tick us off big time. But ladies and gentlemen, family is critical. Family is a basis in America. And listen, you don't have to like the people in your family. If Katrina and Isaac proved anything to us, especially in New Orleans, actually, people outside of New Orleans who are relatives, because we evacuated and lived with y'all. If those Katrina and Isaac proved anything, it proved to us that every single family got an ugly, dirty Uncle Harry who lived with us for 6 months. And after 3 weeks, we started praying that he'd get his own FEMA trailer. And we prayed that it would have extra doses of formaldehyde. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear something later on, but I'll just leave it like that. Family is critical. Okay? I wear a pink rubber band. The reason why I wear a pink rubber band is because about 3 months ago we found out my daughter, 39 years old, oldest child in my family. Okay? My baby girl had breast cancer. Okay? Thank you for all the prayers. We get prayers from all over the place. But you need to know something, okay? She's had a lumpectomy, had some extra margins taken out. She finished her first chemo session 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. She had the second chemo this coming Monday, okay? And she's clean, and so she's already cleared for survival. And you know what? The doctor did a great job. But you need to know something. Family is critical. Absolutely critical. Don't ever forget to love one another. You don't have to like one another. Matter of fact, I don't care what your religious persuasion is, but you can read the Bible, whatever translation you got, you can read the Bible, and you will find nowhere in any translation of the good book does it say we must like one another. We are commanded to love one another. And when you love one another, it means when somebody makes a mistake, we don't just excuse it, but we help them grow through it. And that's what Mama and Dad are supposed to do, young people. And guess what, Mama and Dad? Sometimes we learn from them. Right? It's important. It's critical. The I stands for intellect. What are you doing to develop your intellect? Ladies and gentlemen, we spend a great deal of time and energy trying to make sure the outside of ourselves looks so beautiful. But we don't do anything to develop the brain. Somebody once said, it's what you learn after you know it all. Makes the difference between mediocrity and success. And the biggest room in the world is a room for improvement. Young people, let me tell you something about intellect. Right now, you're a senior in high school. Your mama and daddy are stupid. Your mama and daddy don't know diddly what. They come up with some of the dumbest rules, some of the dumbest ideas, some of the dumbest statements. It's like, I cannot wait to go away to college. And you're going to go away to college. And you're going to be going for 4, 5, 6 years. And one day when you graduate, you will be totally amazed at how brilliant your mom and daddy got while you were at college. And all of a sudden, a lot of that dumb stuff they were telling you back then when you were 17, 18 years old. When you become 20, 21, 22, 23, it's kind of like, dang, that makes me so. And mamas and dads, your young people are going to go away to college, and they're going to get smart. And if you think they're smart out of town, wait till you come back after Woo! Goodness gracious. But you know what? You're going to be able to see their maturity develop. You're going to see them grow. You're going to see your child start to have their own opinions. And sometimes it ain't going to equal yours. Sometimes their opinion is going to be different than yours. But the fact of the matter is, we want them to be mature and be responsible. Sometimes we got to let them have their own ideas and then hold them responsible. Plain and simple. And I'll get into that a little bit more. Okay. The first F stands for social. What are you doing to play? All work and no play make Jack and Jill dull people. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got to learn to laugh. You've got to learn to have fun. Listen to me carefully. God likes jokes. God has a sense of humor. If you don't think God has a sense of humor, look at the person sitting next to you right now. No, I know you did. Look, some of y'all are going, especially the husbands and wives. Don't be looking over here now. We in a public place, but I'll slap you. Look at this note. Tell me God wasn't teasing. As big as this is, I can't expel. You can make him all that equipment and it don't work. People ask, is that your real nose? No, I worked hard to get it this big. You know? They say when I was born, my nose was this big. As I got older, my face kind of caught up to it. What are you doing to play? Listen, you got to smile. And mamas and daddies, listen to me. I do parenting courses. I teach parenting courses all over the place. And one of the things mamas and daddies do is when we go to correct our children, we screw it up. Oh, yeah? Mom and Dad, you know how you do it. Kid does something they're not supposed to do. And we put the faith on. We say, that's it. You in trouble now. Get to your room. No supper tonight. No TV for the rest of the month. And you just wait till your father or mother, whichever one ain't there, gets home. Now, ladies, you need to understand. their room is punishment is dumb. Because in the room, they have a stereo, MP3 player, a computer, DVD player, a television, a refrigerator, a telephone, and a microwave you don't even know about. They go there for months of Sundays and never miss a beat. As soon as they turn the corner, they go. You see that? Them eyes are bugging me out. That rain and that go. Her time this week, she told me no TV for the rest of the month. You'll forget. Here's what you gotta do. You gotta look at them and you gotta smile. You did that shit. You're in trouble, man. You go sit in the living room in front of the TV set and leave it off. I'll deal with you later. Now the child is confused. They saw positive facial expressions. They heard negative statements. They walked into the living room and they go, everybody shut up. Daddy is freaking out big time. Whatever he tells you to do, do it. Whatever he puts on your plate, eat it. Mama, come home quick before the man comes in here with a butcher knife. Listen to me carefully. I think we need to learn. I learned when I was young. Some of y'all ain't gonna like me saying this, but ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand something. We in a world today where we need to learn all kinds of stuff. And one thing we gotta learn to live together. No matter what our color, no matter what our creed. I told you I was one of 9 children. My mom was a French woman. I really believe my mom was black. Oh yeah, how many of y'all grew up with one of their mama? You're in the grocery store. Mama pushing the basket. Little kid does something not supposed to do. Mama goes like this. Bam!
Hey man.
And the kid goes, oh! And mama leaves, oh, what's wrong, mama? Oh, what's wrong? And we learned real quick. I don't shut up. She's gonna beat me all the way to the podium time. One weekend, my wife promised me we would keep all 5 grandkids for the weekend. Forgot she had to go to work on Saturday. My oldest son called me on Thursday. He said, Daddy, I just found out Mom's got to go to work on Saturday. Will you be okay with all 5 of the grandkids by yourself? I said, buddy, you don't even be concerned about me. I'm going to be just fine. You need to be worried about your children. I got a brand new roll of duct tape and I got some soft nylon on the road. You will not be able to tell when I tie them rolls up. Now when I say that, some people say, Steve, you didn't actually stick duct tape on the mouth of your grandchildren. Don't be absurd. You stick duct tape on their mouth to glue these marks. You take a long piece, put it a little backwards, wrap it all the way around. Stick it to itself. No boards and they can't talk. That is a thick man. My grandkid looked at it and said, True story. One time I was in Boston doing a seminar for 8 United States appellate court justices. That's one step below the United States Supreme Court. 7 males and 1 female in a very intimate, elegantly appointed conference room at a Ritz-Carlton hotel overlooking Boston Common. And I started off with my good stuff. And these 8 justices were sitting there like this. And after 10 minutes, I had enough. And I said, time out, Your Honors, time out. There are 2 things that I need to say to you, and after I say these 2 things to you, I'm going to step outside and I'm going to freshen my coffee. And y'all need to discuss amongst yourselves and determine whether or not you want to continue this seminar. Because this seminar will not continue in the atmosphere that's permeating this room at this point in time. With judges, you got to use big words. I said, the first thing I need to say to you, Your Honor, is that this is my classroom, not your courtroom, and God forbid you have a peer in your courtroom. Because if I have a peer in your courtroom and you recognize me, you will authorize construction of a new jail and I will be part of the sub-foundation. Now, what that simply means, Your Honor, is that I ain't here to teach you. You're here to learn. If you have no desire and intention to learn, no need for me to attempt to teach. I will go home soon to get an early flight home, and you ain't got to pay me because I don't give a flying flip. I said the second thing I need to say to you is I look at the expression of some of your faces. It appears to me that some of you may be wearing underwear that about 2,000 and squeezing on parts of your anatomy and not allowing you to fully enjoy life. So if you feel the need to remove them, step outside and do so. Look, I walk out the room and I'm thinking to myself, where the heck did that come from? You don't overlook your butt big time this time. When I was out there for about 10 minutes, seemed like about a month and a half. Finally, one of the justices stuck his head out and he said, Steve, he said, come on back in. He said, safe? He said, come on back. Went back in. 7 out of the 8 justices came with me. 7 out of the 8 justices started laughing, having a good time. One guy, 6.5 hours, never cracked a smile. Not even during lunch when I wasn't sleeping. And I simply came to the conclusion that his DVDs have been spray painted on. The only way he was going to remove them was with turpentine and mineral spirits, and that would cause a rash. He was very delicate there. He didn't want to go there. You got to learn to laugh. You got to learn to have fun. I got the pen around here somewhere. The H stands for health. What are you doing to take care of your body? You see the body you got, guess what? It's the only one you're going to get. Now you may swap out parts from time to time. I was thinking medical operations. I was thinking like heart transplants and liver transplants. The way you giggle, you thinking Friday, Saturday night, we got to stop some parts. And your mom is just right next to you. And she was giggling the same way. But look, when your body goes, it's going. But don't get fanatical about it, okay? I got an older brother, love you to death. He always tells me, say, Steve, you know what all the junk food you eat? When you die, you're going to be thick. I think when you die, you're going to be healthy. And we both won't be dead. And I'm going to enjoy the trip a whole lot more than you do. My doctor told me I need to start eating more greens. I am so glad M&M's come in green now. I'm so up on that bad boy. I got my greens for today, okay? All right, I got to vote. The E stands for economics. Economics. How much money does it cost us to live each month? Most people say just a little bit more than I bring home. But I truly believe it is one of the most important lessons the Lord has put on my heart to teach throughout my career. And that is one of the biggest mistakes most of us make, is when we go to create our budget, we base our budget on our wants. When have you and I ever run out of wants? How many of you have done the same thing I've done day after Christmas, looking in the newspaper to see what's on sale? Because that funky Santa Claus didn't bring me what I asked for. And I got some of them $5, $10 gift cards, you know, from Walmart and Academy Sports that I got in case my nieces and nephews came over, but I prayed that they wouldn't, and they didn't. So now I can spend that money on myself, because I already spent the money. Now I can spend that money on myself. Ladies and gentlemen, let me show you. If we base our budget on our wants, and we never run out of wants, that means we go to work every single day. No! I ain't gonna have enough money. Boy, I'm excited now. I'm pumped, ready to give 110% because I know I ain't gonna have enough money. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to know something. We need to base our budget on our needs. It's okay to have a want list, but I guarantee you, if you base your budget on your needs, you'll have money left over every single month to tic-tac. Not attack, but tic-tac at your want list. But how do you find the difference between these two? Well, I graduated from USL in Lafayette, Louisiana, when it was USL. That's right. University of Slow Learning. I graduated in 4 years. It was a 2-year program, and I was ahead of my class. And even back then, I learned to define the difference, okay? That I learned how to, I had to find a way. So, mom and dad, I want you to think back to the very first house, apartment, or room you ever lived in when you ever moved away from your mom and dad. How was it furnished? Sparsely, huh? Hand me down. Second, third generation stuff, and I ain't talking antique, I'm talking about some old junk. Right? My wife and I, our first entertainment center was 2 concrete blocks, stolen from a construction site in Lafayette, Louisiana. Statute of limitations run out, so I can talk about it now. Spread across it was 3 8-foot-long 2x4s, stolen from the same place. They wanted them, they didn't need them because they finished that construction. I still had that wooden block and I didn't see no hole. And sitting in the middle of them 8-foot got the transistor radio. Both speaker my foot. Had that little 2-inch Japanese speaker. And that was circumference, not diameter. And every night my wife and I would pray the good Lord would find in his kindness and benevolence to convert that into an 8-track player. How many of you remember an 8-track player? How many of you remember when you went out and bought that gray coat or adapter to play that newfangled thing called cassette? And the 8-track player of your Nova. Better yet, Ford Falcon. Remember the Ford Falcon? Nicknamed the Fireball. Not because it was fast, but every time there was an accident. Now, ladies and gentlemen, was there anything that we needed back then that we didn't have? The answer to that question has got to be no, right? Think about it. See, back then, watch it, think about it. We were living on our own. My wife, sometimes we would have some wants when uncared for, right? You know, baby, let's go to the show this weekend. We can't. We don't have enough money. Good, let's stay home. We'll make our own music. And we didn't have a camera. So we just rehearsed and rehearsed. We called it an undress rehearsal. See, ladies and gentlemen, back then, we didn't have to worry about stuff, right? Because we were living on love. We were living on love. Woo! We were living on love, doing fun. Nowadays, we try to live on dating. You can't seem to get happy. Maybe you can go back and live on some love. Plain and simple. And the last letter, ladies and gentlemen, the second S, stands for spiritual life. Spiritual life. And listen, I know that some people in here say, Steve, this is a state institution. There's federal money and state money involved here. There are people in this room who belong to many different religions. And in this setting, you cannot discuss religion under the guise of being politically correct. So therefore, I will not discuss religion. I will discuss spiritual life. See, ladies and gentlemen, did you understand something? Whatever church you go to, whatever church you go to, you need to know something. You need to pray to your God. And next time you talk to your God, do me a favor. Mention me. Because I can use all the prayers I can get. But one of the mistakes we make in our society is under the guise of being politically correct, we forfeit our creator-given right to share with one another our faith and belief. Religion is man-made. Spiritual life is made up of faith and belief. And you need to know something. I refuse to forfeit my creator-given right to share that. Plain and simple. I know what woke me up this morning. And it was not the alarm clock. It was not the wake-up call. Wake-up call was too thick. I woke up at 4. I know it was not the wake-up call. If the good Lord did not want me here in front of you today, you need to know something. Y'all all been standing here going, where is he? I'd be dead back in the Holiday Inn Express. That's why I stayed. That's where I stayed last night. That's why I feel so smart today. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying to you very, very simply is this. You know, we turn around and we have so much to be thankful for. We have so much to be proud of in this country. But we let people divide us. We let people separate us. In my junior and senior year in high school in Jesuit down in New Orleans, my religion class was a study of the 12 major religions in the United States. And you know what I learned during that 2-year study? With the 12 major religions in the United States, we have a great deal more similarities than we do differences. But we spend all of our time and energy focusing on our differences. You need to know something. Again, we need to be happy with where we are. You need to be not afraid to say what you believe in. And I want you to understand this very, very simply. Mom and Dad, I know one of your fears when your kids move away to college is they're going to quit going to church. Listen to me carefully, mamas and daddies, and young people, y'all need to be listen more carefully. Because I'm going to tell you, mamas and daddies, right now in front of you how to check up on you. Oh yeah. So you ought to learn from this. Okay? Mamas and daddies, you're not sure whether your kids are going to church? Here's what I want you to do. Come up on a Saturday night for a football game. Spend the night in a hotel. And tell your children you're going to church tomorrow wherever you normally go to church. And listen, when you show up at church they've been going. If nobody knows them, hello. Now, young people, listen to me carefully. I'm giving you an opportunity. If you know your mom and daddy coming up for the game Saturday, get all your friends to go to the same church on Sunday morning. Wait outside and wave at you when you come in. That way it'll look like you've been going there. But you know one of the things you're going to find out, ladies and gentlemen? Young people, don't tell me you don't pray. I know you pray. I don't want to hear it. Young men, I know you pray. You want to call that young lady up and ask her to go out. And you say, Lord, Lord, please let her say yes, Lord. Lord, I promise I'll do anything, Lord. I'll do almost anything, Lord. Please let her say yes. And young lady, I know you pray. That phone rings. And before you pick it up, you say, Lord, please don't let it be him. Please, Lord. Please, not him. No, not that one either, Lord. Please, Lord. Young people, I know you pray. You get ready to take that biology test. First question is, what is an amoeba? You ain't got a clue. And you sit there, I don't care what school you in, you sit there with that pen in your hand, with the paper on your desk, and you say, Lord, I need your assistance, Lord. Lord, I've been told that you know all things, Lord. Lord, I've been told you created the whole universe, Lord. Lord, I don't even know what a amoeba is, Lord. So could you please answer number one? My time's almost up, ladies. I gotta hurry up because I got something very, very important I want to tell you. You see these two right here, spiritual and family life? I'm so excited that they stay up at the top because those two things are very critical in my life. And let me tell you a story. May 14th, 1999, my 22-year-old son, Chris, walked across the stage at the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg and graduated with a degree in journalism. And Chris, like his sister and brother before him, learned how to set goals very, very early in his life. And one of the goals Chris set was going to backpack in Europe. So on June 9th, using some daddy's frequent platform, Chris got on an airplane, flew from New Orleans to New York, and New York on to Paris. Met up with a buddy of his in Paris and began a backpacking trip that was simply out of this world. And every couple of days he would call us and tell us where he was and what he was doing. Went up to Eiffel Tower from the inside, wanted to go to the outside, but they wouldn't let him. Wanted to see Venice, the city with the streets covered with water. Told him he could stay in New Orleans in April and see that. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris got to see things that I had only read about in books of seen and movies. June 20th, 1999, Father's Day, we're barbecuing in the backyard, the phone rings. And it's Chris calling to wish me happy Father's Day and tell me you love me. 22 years old. I said, hey, buddy, I love you too, man. I appreciate you calling. I said, where are you? He said, we're in Italy, Dad. I said, what part of Italy? He said, Rio Maggiore. I said, where's that? He said, it's on the western coast of Italy. They had about a 4-hour train ride off of Rome. So when y'all are going to go to Madrid? He said, Dad, don't look like we're going to make Madrid. This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life. So what about Prague? Y'all going to Prague? He said, Dad, Brandon and I are trying to figure out what kind of business we just start over here so we can live here forever. I said, well, look, buddy, I said, there's people all over the backyard who want to talk to you. We didn't have a cell phone at the time. Think back, 1999 didn't have any such thing as a cell phone. They had mobile phones, but you had to have a pickup truck to carry the battery. Battery was about 45 pounds, you know. But we had a cordless phone from the house, and we passed that cordless phone all around the backyard. Whoever wanted to talk to Chris, talked to him. Whoever didn't, let the phone pass him by. Phone come back to Dad. I said, look, buddy, I said, I checked on the map. Y'all was 7 hours ahead of us. That means it's late over there. I know you want to party and play. But I appreciate your calling, man. I love you. He said, I love you too, Dad. Talk to you later. June 22nd, 1999. Just finished doing a seminar at Adelphi University on Long Island. I was on my way back to LaGuardia to fly home, and my pager went off, so it was my home number. Pulled off the road and called home. My wife was crying. Our 22-year-old son had been involved in a swimming accident. He was in a coma in a hospital in Genoa, Italy. Instead of flying home to New Orleans, I flew from New York to Rome, and Rome went up to Genoa. While I was on the first flight, I arranged my wife and oldest son to leave New Orleans the next day. 4 days later, I had to send for my daughter. And on June 29, 1999, my 22-year-old son died. People say, how can you talk about it? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I know where he is. I know what kind of life he led. I know what kind of relationship he had with Satan. I know how he treated people each and every day. And I know the last thing my son and I said to one another is, I love you, talk to you later, and God willing, that will occur. People say, why do you talk about it? A couple of reasons. Number one, I think we let stuff in this world get under our skin that don't mean a hill of beans. See this stuff right here? It's got to get thicker. I am a short white boy, can't jump. They made a movie about me. I'm so bad at basketball, they sometimes won't even let me watch. Okay. But you know what? This stuff is going to happen. Moms and dads, listen to me. Your kid's going to screw up. I would love to be able to see my son screw up. Nothing that your kids do can be as bad as never being able to see again. Never being able to put your arms around again. Young people, your mamas and daddies are going to screw up. They're going to do dumb stuff. But if you knew the next time you saw your mother, your father, it would be in a cab, trouble. You would love for them to be alive for one more day to do something stupid. See, tomorrow is promised to nobody. Yesterday is a canceled check. It's already been spent. Tomorrow is a promissory note may not come due. Only today is legal tender. And what on earth are we doing? For heaven's sake. Ladies and gentlemen, the other reason why I talk about my son is because I believe in miracles. And I believe miracles happen all over the place. But I think sometimes we're either so cynical, or we're so technologically advanced, or we're too busy to recognize it. So let me throw a few up at you real quick. Chris got caught in the rib tie. That's an undertow. 9 times out of 10 when a body gets caught in the rib tie, you get drug out to sea, you never find it again. They found Chris's body floating about 1.5 feet, 2 feet below the surface. From every report we were given, when they pulled Chris out the water, he was dead. But there was a German doctor passing by, saw the commotion going on, went down and performed CPR, and got Chris's heart and lungs pumping again. Met back into that hospital in Germany. Chris was in a coma for 7 days. Ladies and gentlemen, it never entered any piece of my consciousness on that Father's Day that I would never, ever have a face-to-face conversation with my son again. That I would never, ever hear his voice again. As I said, I would give anything in this world to put my arms around my son again. But my Heavenly Father's chosen a purpose for himself right now. And one day we'll be reunited. The other reason why, another miracle, ladies and gentlemen, Chris died on the 29th of June. We did not get his body back in the United States until the 4th of July. Been dead for 6 days. We had no idea what condition his body was going to be in. And I told the mortician, I said, when you open up the coffin, I need to be there. He called me that morning saying that he was going to be picking up Chris at the airport. Met me at the door of the mortuary. He said, Steve, look, I've been thinking about it. It's hot all over Italy. It's hot all over Europe. They flew Chris back to New York and Atlanta. Both of those cities are having record heat wave. He said, there's no telling how much damage could have occurred to the body. It may not be a pretty sight. I said, I understand. Let's open it up. Ladies and gentlemen, we took the lid off of Chris's coffin. Chris's body was perfect. His cheeks were just as soft as mine. His hands were crisscrossed like this, and I reached down to hold him. Felt like his fingers tried to curl to hold mine back. His suit was all wet, but his body was perfect. And the mortician looked at me and said, I can't believe he looks like that. He said, I can dry the suit, I can clean it. Called us that afternoon. He said, Steve, if you and Lucy want to come by and see Chris before anybody comes. He said, I got him laid out. We walked in that funeral home, ladies and gentlemen. You know what we say when we see a loved one laid out? He looks good. Guess what? He looked good. And there he was in this beautiful Italian suit with his golf shoes on. Because the boys love to play golf. And Mama wanted him ready for that first tee up in heaven. We can see him up there with St. Peter, St. Michael, and St. Christopher. Catholics, you know Christopher was out for a while, but we let him back in. Okay, on that first tee. Going, all right, no trees, because the boy hated the trees on the golf course. And we both had a good cry, and we bent down and kissed him, and I felt a tap on my arm, and the mortician was backing me up. When I backed up, he said, Steve, he said, Chris was not embalmed in Italy. I said, what do you mean he wasn't embalmed in Italy? He said, when I took the suit off to dry it completely, there were no puncture marks anywhere on his body where they could have transferred the fluids. And then I remembered in Europe, they do not internally embalm, they topically embalm. They spray the top of the body because they want the body to decay. He said, there's no reason for his body to look like that. And I looked at him and I smiled. I said, there's no earthly reason, but there's a heavenly reason. See, his heavenly Father, one of his family and friends, to be able to say goodbye to Chris, they do, not a closed box. Lazarus was dead for 4 days and he's standing. Chris was dead for 6 days and his body was perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, I wear a rubber band. Plain rubber band. The reason why I wear a rubber band is because my son did. The reason why my son did is because when he was in high school, he was involved in a small automobile accident. Somebody else was driving, nobody got seriously hurt. Few little scratches and scrapes. Chris walked away without a scratch on him, and that day he was wearing a rubber band. So he decided rubber band was his good luck charm. And he would buy rubber bands by the bag. I could always tell when he had a date with a new girl he wanted to dress her, he had a clean rubber band on. One of the old girlfriends, dirty rubber band, fine. So when he was still in a coma through the internet, we asked everybody to wear rubber bands to remind him to pray for Chris for a miracle for him to come out of the coma. Well, the good Lord had a different miracle in mind. And the night of his wake, these 3 ladies came from Thibodeau who worked with my daughter, and they came up to me and they said, Steve, we can't stay tonight, we can't come back tomorrow. We have to be at work. What do you want us to do with rubber bands? Well, that night my brain was kind of fried. And I said, well, just leave them over here. I said, just put them on the table. I said, no, just leave them here. I said, maybe somebody, tomorrow we'll try to kind of gather them all together, and maybe we'll try to find some kind of way to hook them up and, see how long I don't know. Just leave them here. Well, again, I thought they were going to put them on the table. The next thing I noticed, ladies and gentlemen, these 3 ladies took off their rubber bands, walked back up to Chris's coffin, and laid the rubber bands next to his body. Now, this is New Orleans, y'all. When people in New Orleans see 3 people in a row do the same thing, it starts a whole new parade. Everybody started taking off rubber bands, going back up to Chris's body, and laying them next to his body. By the next morning, Chris's 5'11" frame was surrounded completely by literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rubber bands. And the mortician asked me if I wanted to clean them out, and I said no. Those came from loved ones and friends. Let them go. And then we buried my son, and I thought I had it under control. I thought I was being strong. I did the eulogy for his funeral. And then we buried him, and then some time passed, went to Mass on that next Thanksgiving Day. 2 of the songs they sang at that Thanksgiving Day Mass were 2 of the songs we used at Chris's funeral Mass. First time I heard the song since the funeral. It's like somebody taking a baseball bat and wrapping me right in the stomach. And I sat there like a baby and I cried. And please understand, I have no qualms at all about a man crying. I haven't a will in private and in public. But I felt like at that first Thanksgiving was boy, that Christmas was going to be a bear and a half. So I started praying, asking the good Lord to give me some kind of way to be able to help do something to be able to help my family get through that first Christmas. About 2 weeks before Christmas, the good Lord put on my heart that Chris wanted to write a letter through me to his family and friends talking about what it was like in heaven. And I remember sitting in a Holiday Inn in Little Rock, Arkansas, on the bed with my old laptop on my lap, typing and crying and sniveling and dripping. That's why it's my old laptop. Got all kind of food all over the But this letter kept coming. He was talking about what it was like celebrating Christmas in heaven with the real guest of honor. And he ended the letter by saying, P.S. Thanks for all the flowers. Keep them coming. And keep looking for those rubber bands. I'll leave them around just to remind you. And I find rubber bands in all kind of crazy places. And some of you in this room will never ever look at a rubber band the same way. I get letters from people all the time. Got a letter from a lady. She said, Steve, you probably don't remember me. I was in a session you did. I'm laying the keys running back upstairs because I found a rubber band in the stairwell on my way back to my office. She said, life has not been too kind to me lately. In the last 6 months, we've buried 7 members of my family. And I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't concentrate at work. And one day I had enough. I couldn't take it anymore. And I got up from my desk and I left my office. And I got in my car and I drove out to the lake. I was ready to be number 8. Because I got out of my car, at my feet by the edge of the lake, was a rubber band. And I bent down and I picked it up and I started crying again, but it was different tears. I started to remember what you and your family had been through. And I felt like in some crazy way Chris was looking out for me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know something. Up here, I can't tell you where that rubber band came from. But right here, I have no doubt. Because one of the things I learned about my son after he died was that he wanted to go away from home after he graduated from college and get some experience. He'd come back and go to work with Daddy every single day. So guess who's with me no matter where I am, no matter where I go. Plain and simple. Does anybody here buy Shell gas? has changed. Looked like it might have been a sunrise or a sunset. And the theme, the marketing deal, this big car about that big, stood hung over the gas register in the Shell gas station. And they had a circle going around it with a marketing phrase for it. And it said the Shell card, it just got better. You can use it as an ATM card as well as a gas credit card. The name on that card was Chris Morgan. My son's name. Summer of 1999. Beautiful blue sky. It just got better. Now guess what message I got? Ladies and gentlemen, some people say, Steve, there's nothing miraculous about that. That's simply a marketing firm put some variables in the computer and they either randomly selected or they made up a name. My response is you can feel that way if you so choose. But how many of y'all remember reading in that book about that guy, Moses? Y'all remember reading about Moses? He went up on a mountain and there was a bush on fire and he spoke to him. Burning bush, y'all talked about it! Now, ladies and gentlemen, I believe in my heart of hearts that Yahweh raised that day from get a bush on fire to speak to Moses. In all probability, God has upgraded his technology. And he wants the computer to spit out a certain name, it will and it did. Now, what's all that got to do with you? Young people coming to college, mom and dad send them to college. I guess the best way I can close is with a poem that came from two of my son's college professors. And it was not written by my son, it was not written for my son. If you had any member of your family die and you sent a sympathy card, you made it legal. It's called Perhaps God is a Poet. And it goes like this. It says, perhaps God is a poet who writes each day of flesh and bone and leaf and flower. In every hour of every day, words pour out of the poet's heart. And every word is beautiful and true and worth the telling. And when each poem is perfect, there is nothing more which ought to be said. The poet gently takes the poem back into his heart, where he keeps it safe forever, and then begins again. Ladies and gentlemen, my son's poem is finished. And many of you in this room have loved ones whose poems are finished. But yours and mine are not. And that means we have the opportunity each and every day to help the poet write the poem. We have the opportunity each and every day to add sights and sounds and thoughts and color and words and music to the poems of our lives. What do you want your poem to say? You write the part of it today. And God willing, you write some more for tomorrow. Write your poem in such a way that others will not only enjoy reading your poem, but they'll want to revisit your poem over and over again to use it as a guide to help them write theirs. You know, I used to teach that we got to choose in life whether or not we make a difference. I don't teach that anymore. We make a difference whether we want to or not. You wake up in the morning, you make a difference. You don't wake up, you make a difference. You get out of bed, you make a difference. You don't get out of bed, you make a difference. You get dressed, you make a difference. You don't get dressed, you make a difference. You go to work or school, you make a difference. You don't go, you make a difference. You care, you make a difference. You don't care, you make a difference. You love, you make a difference. You hate, you make a difference. We do not get to choose whether or not we're going to make a difference. The only thing we get to choose, and that which we must choose, is whether that difference will be negative or positive. As a matter of fact, if you ever think you're too small to make a difference, you obviously have never spent a night in bed with a mosquito. Think about it. You're lying in bed, you turn out the light, turn on the light. Turn out the light. Pull the cover over you. Wake up in the morning, got slap marks all over the place. And the lesson we need to learn from the mosquito continues to make a difference as long as it keeps buzzing. As soon as it bites, it's over. So buzz, don't bite, and choose each and every day to make a positive difference in your life and in the life of